iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Michael, I think if we're headbanging, it can only mean one thing.
Rock of Ages is back.
Yes. Rock of Ages is
10th
back.
anniversary of Rock of Ages.
On Broadway, where it belongs. It's at the New York stage, and they've just extended their stay through January 12th, and we have two of the stars of the show here with us today. Kirsten Scott joins us. Kirsten, you are playing Sherry.
I am, yes.
And CJ Eldred, you are Drew.
That's
so
right.
I guess you two work very, very closely together.
Oh,
you can
yes,
say that.
on a nightly basis.
Our romantic couple.
I have to go
of
back
Rock
to see
of
Rock of
Ages.
Ages because I think I was completely bombed the night I saw it.
Oh, you're like
What?
most of our audience.
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
that
No,
sounds
that's
about right.
I was going to ask you. I mean, people are like, the night I was there, but Constantine Maroulis, I think, was in it when I saw
Yep.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
that
I
makes
just
sense.
remember getting totally smashed
Yes.
during the show.
Yeah.
You should get smashed again and come back.
It's encouraged. to be
absolutely.
encouraged.
But that's
yeah.
what happens,
Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
is how people go, and they're completely hammered,
Yes.
and they're
I mean,
jumping up and down.
You'll
Oh,
have
yeah.
fun either way, but it always helps.
Now,
Just
can
get
the
a little-
casket hammer too?
No.
No.
We won't
No
tell anybody.
comment.
It's
Yeah,
just
no
between
comment.
us.
Your secrets are safe with
Yes,
us.
exactly.
Richard,
I should say New World Stages is where
Right.
you guys are at. So
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
and congratulations on the extension.
Thank you.
you.
It's exciting.
Yeah, this is such a fun, loving show. Like we said,
my
we all
gosh.
kind of get involved. Does it bug you if the audience sings along at any point?
No.
No.
No. Only if you sing the lyrics wrong.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Don't mess
The
us
only
up.
thing that
That's
was
good.
tricky is a couple nights ago, someone was saying the lines right before we said them, and I was having this out-of-body experience, and I was like, wait, did I just say the line? Or they said
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like, is there an
"Do you
echo
remember
in
that
here,
night?"
or is it
I know.
me?
I was like, what's going on?
so there's a hardcore fan base of
Oh
Rock
my-
of Ages, people who keep
hard-
coming back and back. and back.
Hardcore.
Yes.
I
Really?
think a woman last night said 80 times. She was
my
like, this is
God.
my
Yes.
80th performance. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, 80
You're-
times. She's seen our production 5 times,
Yeah.
I think.
Wow.
I was like,
already.
have we been there that long?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
we've
think she
done
should
5
try
shows.
Alcoholics Anonymous. Poor thing. Oh my God. So, but it is a fun show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's produced by a guy I really admire, a friend of mine, Michael Cole,
Yes.
who's a legend in the music business because he handled all of the U2 concerts.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
And Michael was called in by Bono when Bono's musical Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark was in trouble. They ran out of money, and Michael had retired.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Bono called him up and said, you have to come and save my musical. So Michael swooped in and raised the money from various sources around the world, $85 million, and got Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
He's
on.
got some good
gosh.
friends.
And then he fired Julie Taymor, the director.
Oh.
You don't mess with Michael Cole. You guys better be
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your best
Yeah, I
behavior.
know.
we are.
I
We
saw
are,
him a
we
couple
are.
weeks ago. He was coming to. He's like, I just check on the show every once in a while. I was like, okay, good to see you. Good to know.
Absolutely.
Good to know, right?
Absolutely. He just produced Barbara Streisand's concert at Madison Square
Yes,
Garden.
I
too.
know. I was so sad we couldn't go to that. Did you go?
I did.
Oh, was it
Oh,
amazing?
lucky.
Yeah, it was
Was it
good.
everything? Oh.
Yeah, she talks a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. She's got a couple stories, though.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly.
You know,
She's-
older singers, there's a lot of patter.
Yes, they love their patter.
You know, a lot of patter because the vocal chops are not what they once were. She still hits all the notes and wonderful, but you know, there's a
Yeah.
long period of time between songs.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
one
Yeah.
time in patter set.
Oh,
Yeah.
just take a little vocal rest if she didn't talk. Well, what about for you guys? Because this show, I mean, vocally, this is incredibly
Speaking of vocal rest.
Yeah.
demanding. Yeah, how are you protecting your voices?
I mean,
By doing radio interviews.
Yes,
By
exactly.
doing radio
Well, we start with
Our
a radio
days off.
interview every day. Just get it warmed up. Now, I have a lot of I'm really into Pure Mist, my Pure Mist, which is a handheld steamer. I'm trying to get sponsored by them.
Should, yes.
Sounds like something
Yeah.
you'd find out on Goop.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Does that sound like a Gwyneth Paltrow thing?
Well,
Right. It's made
Yeah.
of crystals and gold.
Yeah, she sponsored, not me.
Not you.
But yeah, no, I think I've mentioned them on every single interview I've done because I'm like, hey, my Pure Mist.
I know, but you sound like $1 million every show.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's,
because of
it's
them.
it's working.
It works really well. But I also I'm a huge fan of Fontus. It's a
What's that?
it's like a lozenge that's designed by I should know her name. She's a voice teacher.
Yes, and Texas State.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she was in Bat Boy.
Yep, she's really great. Anyway,
I guess
Amazing.
Rico
Pass, go to the
doesn't-
next.
no,
Yeah, I know.
and Ricola's not
Ricola
good.
doesn't cut it
No,
out.
it's
Yeah.
called
It's
menthol,
got menthol
and
and it dries you
Ricola
out.
dries you out.
Yeah.
And yet they're
Oh.
backstage at every Broadway show.
Yeah,
There's
they
always
are.
like a
There are
tub
always
of
bowls of
yeah,
it.
I'm always
Yeah,
like, don't
but they're
use them, you
actually really
guys.
bad.
So wait, it's called. I'm writing this down because radio people have to talk too. It's
Yeah.
Fontus.
Fontus, NTUS.
Thank you. Wow, that's a
Yes.
good tip.
And
Really
I
good
drink
stuff.
water and sleep. And,
Yeah, and sleep is really
And
important.
sometimes I eat gummy bears backstage.
Swedish
and-
fish.
So-
Yeah, Swedish fish are
Because the
great.
glycerin's really good.
Mhm.
Or,
It is
or
good.
Grethers. Those things I really like.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah,
I
yeah.
do love
Grethers.
those.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Look
they
at
just-
this. Actor tips.
yeah, right? What else do you need to
this
know?
is great
I have a
stuff.
question for you. How good is the wine at Rock of Ages?
Oh, I haven't had
You know what? I would go for the test tube shots. If I
Yeah,
was going to pick one,
definitely
I would say
Jell-O
stick with the
shots.
beer and the test tube shots.
Yeah, yes. Good for
Yeah.
your voice, too. You get the glycerin in the Jello.
Yeah, right?
That's great.
Oh no, they don't actually serve Jello shots. That is a big.
Oh,
I know
man.
they
Okay,
serve
okay,
test
okay,
tube
okay.
shots, which I think
I'm gonna
is
get
like
flack for
vodka
that.
and something.
Now the
something.
audience
It's
comes in
working, whatever
fairly
it is.
hammered, right?
Yes.
I mean, when
Oh,
the show
oh,
starts,
yeah.
they're pretty
what
well
I see.
lubricated.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
how does it progress through the course of the show?
Yeah, usually you'd think that they'd hit a point where they'd start sleeping and then you like have to wake them up, but they
Then-
actually somehow they sustain. Like the end of Act 1, they're like on their feet and we're like,
Well,
oh yeah.
I think we have something to do with that.
I know. All right, I'll take a little credit. But that's why matinees are so hard for us because we're like, guys, you didn't have enough mimosas. Like we should like provide
Yeah,
mimosas
like,
for the matinees.
Please let them be the brunch crowd.
I know. It's like Michael, if
Please.
you're listening, like I think we should like add like a mimosa bar for the matinee
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah,
I think the
that's a
show
good
would go a lot better.
Stop with the coffee.
personally.
Do people
right?
ever
I know.
Yeah.
do people ever get it really out of control and jump up on stage or try to join
We
you?
actually
done that.
had a front row couple that literally came to get hammered and be seen, and they stood up and they started like pounding on the stage like it was like a drum set, and I was right there on the stripper pole as you are, and and I was getting a little nervous, and luckily it was the end of Act 1, so like we were about to leave stage, but I was like, what is gonna happen? I got a little worried.
Yeah, the closest I had, there's a moment where I sit down, like actually on the front of the stage with my feet into the audience, and there was the drunkest people in the entire audience were like
my
right
gosh.
there, and I could hear them whispering like, "I dare you to touch him. I dare you, just touch him, just touch him. We can touch him, right?" And I was just like in my mind, I was like, "What do I do? Do I
Don't
like
touch him. He's
like
real.
just stay calm, CJ?" Yeah, but they
Yeah.
didn't touch me.
Well, one of the characters in your show, I'm sorry, it does break the fourth wall, right?
Yes, Lonnie. Yes, who plays the narrator.
Yes.
So and that's kind of the cool thing about the show
Right.
is it knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's like this is just silly
sends
and
itself
poop
up.
jokes. Yes. Yeah, and poop jokes and stuff like that. So and that's what's so great is like he breaks the fourth wall right away. So the audience kind of feels like, "Oh, we're part of this."
They're invited.
Yeah,
yes.
they're invited
Yeah.
to the party, which is great for the show. And so it kind of allows people to kind of get a little raucous. But yeah, we haven't had too bad yet.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll let you know in
tame.
January. Yeah.
How about how are you guys dealing with the fashion? You know, the
With the
80s.
fashion?
Yeah.
Oh
I
man,
love it.
I kind of love my
Oh, my-
look. It's fun. I mean, it's clearly very different than we're on radio, so everybody can see.
right.
It's very different than what I
It's a
normally
visual
am.
medium.
yeah, yeah. But I love the wig. I named her. Her name is Guinevere. We're very
that.
close. Yes, when she's a lady, she doesn't get.
Very
But then when she gets
nice.
wild, she's Gwen. But-
Camelot of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's
Does-
fun. It's fun.
And the hair doesn't get drunk, though. Your wig. So.
Well, sometimes.
You guys, I think you should do one performance where you switch things around, where the audience has to be sober and you guys perform drunk.
I'm
Yeah, it
so
sounds like-
for that. Maybe like our Actors Fund performance or whatever could be
Oh,
that.
that would be
Like,
fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
You know-
we all take shots. And
Well,
just get
I've heard
plastered.
stories about the closing night on Broadway, and that's pretty much exactly what it was, except, well, everybody
Oh,
was
I know
drunk.
Constantine. I've been out
Yeah.
drinking with Constantine.
Oh,
He can handle it, trust
he
me.
can get thrown back.
We
Oh my gosh.
certainly can.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't been
yeah.
drinking on this show because it is such a hard sing, and so I feel like if we did that, I'd have like 2 shots, and I'd be like, I would be out. Sherry would be
yeah.
a mess.
Yeah.
Well, you know who used to perform
Fun.
drunk regularly was Richard Burton.
Oh,
I've
yes.
heard that.
Well, yeah.
I've
When
heard
he was
that.
in Camelot. I remember John Cullum.
Speaking of Camelot.
You know the actor John Cullum?
Yes, of course.
John was a young man back in those days in Camelot. I think it was 68. No, it would have been earlier because John F. Kennedy liked Camelot. So it would have been 61, 62. In any case, Cullum told me the story that one time Richard Burton was in the wings before he went on, and he was literally swaying
Oh, no.
because he'd been drinking after the matinee
Oh, no.
at lunch, like 3 bottles of Bordeaux.
3?
Yeah, oh, yeah. And they
Bye-bye
were-
world.
And Cullum was worried, well, what's going to happen? And Burton came out as the king, and he sort of stood in the center of the stage looking glassy-eyed and swaying. And then he called over to John's character, who was like, Sir Paul. He says, Sir Paul, come hither. And he calls over to this other actor, Sir Frederick, come hither. He says, kneel. And they knelt down in front of him, and then he balanced himself on their heads, and he sang his first song in Camelot, so he
Yes.
didn't fall over.
Oh, my.
He was a professional drunk.
Absolutely.
That's a pro.
He knew
That
what
is
he
a
was
pro.
doing.
Yeah.
take that as a lesson.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
gonna take that.
Yeah.
When you do Rock of Ages drunk, you're going to call Christine and me, and we will come to see you guys.
Great.
Hey, come hither.
Yes, come hither.
You can balance
We
yourselves on
got
our
ya.
heads. That's it.
We'll look
My
after
striptease,
you.
I'll be like, Neil.
Now, before we let you guys go, we like to ask our guests to give us one or two songs from the musical theater that have a special meaning in their lives. So, Kirsten, we'll start with you. A couple songs that really mean something. Tell us why they mean something to you.
Well, speaking of Barbara Streisand, I think people from Funny Girl. When I was 13, my voice teacher gave me that song. Completely inappropriate. And now, as an adult, as I listen to the lyrics more, it's just every time I listen to it, I hear something new, and I go, "Oh, I understand what it means now."
Yes.
And also that like classic recording. I mean, it's just fantastic. So I'm going to say that song, and then you said one or two. Oh, I'm going to say this. My first Broadway show was Hairspray, and
Oh, sure.
You Can't Stop the Beat. If you can listen to that song and not crack a smile, I give up. So when you're down, I feel like that song really just gets me going and makes me realize I'm like, it's all gonna be okay.
I always like that song, Timeless to Me. It's such a sweet little
It's such
throwaway
a sweet
song,
little.
but
Oh
it's so
my
cute.
gosh! And the two of them, did you ever?
Harvey and
oh
Dick,
my gosh.
the great Dick
Harvey,
Latessa.
yes, the two of them. Oh, it was magic. It was magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CJ, your couple of songs that mean something for you?
Right now I'm going to say anything from Hadestown.
Oh.
And the story behind that is I was recently very, very ill with the flu, like one of those 24-hour bugs. And it was so bad I just needed like something to distract me, but I like couldn't focus on anything because I was like hallucinating from, being so ill. And so I was like, I feel like I'm dying. Like, maybe I should listen to Hadestown. And
it got you through the flu?
Oddly, like, it was amazing. It's such a beautiful show. And I want to thank all those people that are part of that show because it like literally like got me through being so ill.
They saved the day for you.
That's
Saved
the
the
best.
day.
Yeah.
Hadestown will get you through the flu.
Yeah, I was like, I'm on the railroad to hell.
That is how it feels, by the way.
And don't drive home after Rock of Ages.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be a problem.
Yes.
All right.
Good advice.
Kirsten Scott and CJ Eldred in Rock of Ages at New World Stages. Thanks for being our guest on Inside Broadway.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.